Hey, everybody, welcome to our weekly broadcast. I want to thank you for being here with us and stopping back by. Just a quick reminder, if you like, subscribe, make a comment, ask a question, helps us with our broadcast. Our goal here is just to help you become more successful. Our podcast is called Business, Money, and Christianity. We're a financial podcast from a faith perspective, meaning that we're looking at the Word of God and we're basing on biblical principles. Sometimes I talk about the Bible and Christianity, sometimes I don't, but it all comes from a biblical lifestyle. And so today I have maybe what's called a funny name or a negative title, but how to be miserable. You know, there's a lot of miserable people and they work hard at being miserable. Now, I'm pretty sure they're not trying to, but the things that they're doing is causing them. And it can happen a lot within within the business setting as we're pursuing entrepreneurship, making life work. We get so focused on certain things that we end up making our own life miserable. Now, we all have an identity, and a lot of people, especially here in the United States, if tell me who you are, you ask them a question, tell me who you are. And a lot of times they will answer that question by their profession. We a lot of times assign our identity to our profession. And if we're working toward being successful in business, we might end up focusing on the negative elements that we're fighting against. And we end up developing a negative identity. And then we fight to keep the negative identity. Now, we shouldn't. We should be focusing on the positive, what we're going to accomplish, but it just kind of seems natural, I guess, in the course of everyday living that we fight the battles of the day, and it seems like the battles of the day are always there. And so if you're not careful, you'll take on the negative side of your business and you'll end up with a bad identity. You'll end up with a negative identity, which equates into a negative personality. And you're going to relay this to your clients and who you're trying to serve. And I've seen people, I've come into businesses before, and they don't even acknowledge that you're there. They're so caught up in the problem of right now that a paying customer comes in and they don't even consider the fact that it's a this could be a return business clientele for me. I was actually in Chicago Airport at the time of this recording yesterday, and I was wanting something to sweet. I was actually wanting an ice cream cone. And I was thinking I probably shouldn't eat an ice cream cone. So I'm walking around looking for a place, and there was this place, Jamba Juice. And if you're not familiar with it, they make healthy drinks and fruit drinks and different things like that that probably got too much sugar in it. But anyway, I thought, oh, that'd be good. It'll satisfy my sweet tooth. Probably is not as bad as ice cream. And so I'll go in there. And I wasn't really paying attention until I actually ordered. It was filthy. Now, looking around, had I noticed it before I ordered, I probably would have walked out. And I ordered, and the lady told me how much it was, and I had my hand out with money. I was paying with cash and not a card. And I'm just sitting there, and she doesn't take my money. Finally, another worker says something in another language beyond English. So I didn't understand what they said, but based on her reaction, I'm assuming he said something like, "Hey, Gina," whatever her name is, the guy's trying to have you hand you money to pay for it. And okay. And she like looks at it and but what she was doing was more important than me standing there. And then I got to looking around, and I thought, this place is filthy. I wish I wouldn't have ordered and paid for my drink. So their operation of their business was they're more focused on what they're doing. I was the only customer in there, and they gave really bad service based on how their day was going, and they weren't taking time to clean up. Most food places here in the United States, maintain a pretty good standard of of cleanliness because the way our health department operates. But when we get caught up in the day to day, a lot of times it starts taking hold of our personality. Then what ends up happening is we're not going to let reality interfere with the negative identity of our choices. And I would imagine when I left, they probably viewed me as an inconvenience. Tell you another story, same thing, but I was in Ohio. It was the first leg of the airline trip coming back home last night. And I walked in and there was nobody at the counter at United Airlines. I got to give them a high five for this. And so there was three people standing around talking. And so from a visual standpoint, as I'm walking up, I'm looking and thinking, yeah, you guys look like you're not interested in business. So I say something that really is speaking to that, but the guy's answer was great. And I said, well, which one of you should I bother? And the guy says, man, come bother me. I'm here to help you. I thought, well, that was a great comeback. But he showed and demonstrated that I am here, I'm speaking in terms of him, I am here to serve you. And there was nobody around. We are just sitting around chit chatting. He didn't say this, but his attitude is like, we're chit chatting. But as soon as you came up, our customer, I want to serve you. And there's a real difference that the other person that I talked about, she had something going on. It was in her hand. I don't know if it had to do with the cash register or whatnot, but she was doing something. She could care less about me. And I was really an interruption to her day. And if we're not careful, we will assume an identity that focuses on the problems of the day. And then we end up portraying to those that we're saying that we want to serve and help them achieve whatever goal, whether we sell products or services, it doesn't matter. Then what ends up happening is the problems of the day, and there's problems every day, they become, in becoming our negative identity, we deny that we've taken on this identity, and it's really not me, it's what I'm dealing with. But all of us deal with stuff. And we ought to step back and take a look at how do we look to our potential customer? Why does our customer want to do business with us? I was in a restaurant. In fact, there was four of us, my wife and then another couple. And there was only like two other tables. Wasn't busy that night. And the hostess sat us, said, your server will be with you in just a few minutes. They never came. They're walking around, they're doing things, but they never came to us. We got up and walked out. They lost business. I don't know how much the value of four people ordering is to the restaurant. I'm not in the restaurant business, but I would think that you want people to stay. I've not been back. Why? Because their service was horrible. I don't want to go back. See, what do people see when they see us? So whether we're in a service business or whether we're in a product business, we want the people to like us. And we start blaming things. We start separating the problems that we're going through from how we're behaving. But the person that we're serving doesn't see that. They're just experiencing us. And if we view our clients, if we view the world around us, in fact, the Bible says, to him that has friends must show himself friendly. I would think we could translate the Bible a little bit further and extrapolate it out and say, he that has a thriving business will show himself beneficial to his clients. People interact with us. People engage with us. And while they may want the product that we're selling or the service they're selling, we're part of that. Now, they may need the product or the service so much that it's like, yes, I'll pay for it, but I'm never coming back to you again. But we want people to want to do business with us. And so if this continues to go on in our life, we start looking for the problem of the day, which takes our focus off the objective of the day. What do I need to do today to get to the next step in my business? And I play a very big part in that. And I should pay attention to how the things are affecting me. When I was in finance, one of the things that we had to do, part of job assignment, was to collect D's. That's what we called it, debts. When people didn't pay their monthly payment, we had to call them, we had to collect it. And there was so many times I didn't even realize this happened to me while I was working there. But on delinquencies, uh, the debt is now delinquent. And so I'm calling to get you to make your payment. There's a high percentage of those people who lie. Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. I just overlooked that. I'll throw that in the mail today and you should have it, by Friday. You should have it in 3 or 4 days. Okay, thank you. 3 or 4 days goes by. You call them back. Yeah, I was going to send that out when I told you, and it didn't get around to you. I'm going to be around town. Let me get down there. I'll come by your office today. They don't. Oh yeah, I ended up not going down there, but I'm going to be down there tomorrow. I'll come in tomorrow. They're just lying to get you off their back. Well, the interesting thing about it is, and I didn't realize this was happening, I started viewing people as liars. And it wasn't until I got out of that particular business that I realized I had a negative attitude toward people because people always lied to me. And I had to readjust my interaction with people. Not everybody is a liar. And so I can't approach them as a liar. Not everybody is an inconvenience. Not everybody is a problem. Not everybody is messing up my day. When we go into business, when we're trying to help people, the people are our livelihood. They pay us to do whatever it is that we're doing. And we need to value them in that sense. Because if they decide there's another person down the street that does the same thing, they're making a decision. Do I go to him or do I go to them? And if I'm not on the top of their list, then they're going to know or they're going to make a decision to go to somebody else. It's an amazing thing to me about here in the United States of America. We have two big companies that sell soda pop, carbonated sodas. One, you probably heard of it. One is Coca-Cola. One is Pepsi. Do you know they're constantly paying for advertisement? I doubt there's any American citizen that does not know Coca-Cola and Pepsi. But yet they spend millions of dollars in advertising to keep their product, whether it's Coke or Pepsi, in front of us so that we're thinking about them. Why? Because they know they have competition. Pepsi knows that Coca-Cola is out there and they want you and me thinking Pepsi. Coca-Cola knows that Pepsi's out there and they want you and me thinking Coca-Cola, so that when we go in and buy, that brand is on our mind. Well, we should think the same way. Our presence creates an advertising that speaks volume to our clients, whether they will come back, whether they will do business with us again. So I want to encourage you today is you and I have an identity. Is our identity centered around the problems that we face, or is our identity centered around the customers to whom we serve? Because it's the customers that pay the problem or pay the bills that creates our income. The problems, they're going to come and they're going to go. Every single day there's a new problem. But I can't allow it to start defining my personality. I need to remember the person that stands in front of me is the person that creates my income. So hey, thank you for coming by again. Check your personality. Are you burdened down with the problems of the day and trying to get everything resolved while customers are walking in and out, experiencing your bad attitude or whatever? Don't let it happen, because we want to be successful in life. So thank you for stopping by again. If you would, we're Business Money and Christianity, a financial podcast from a faith perspective. Ask a question, make a comment, do something, share it on other social media platforms. We appreciate your coming by. I'll see you again next week.